Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to remind council, municipal staff, and members of the public in attendance that this electronic public meeting is being live streamed to the public. A video recording of this meeting will be available to the public on the township's YouTube account. Physical attendance of the public at this meeting is restricted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to thank the applicants for their patience and understanding of the need to organize this meeting through the use of technology. The municipality has made every effort to ensure all affected property owners were informed and are able to participate in this planning process. Sue, could you read the note, please?
One of the purposes of the Planning Act is to provide for planning processes that are open, accessible, timely, and efficient. Accordingly, all written submissions, documents, correspondence, emails, or other communications, including your name and address, form part of the public record and will be disclosed and made available by the municipality to such persons as the municipality sees fit, including anyone requesting such information. Accordingly, in providing such information, you shall be deemed to have consented to its use and disclosure as part of the planning process.
The purpose of this meeting is to hear persons' comments in regards to zoning bylaw amendment application made by the applicant. The applicant is Bradley Law Professional Corporation, Adrian F. Taylor, and Ms. Taylor is with us. The owner is Susan Jane Behan. The file number is BEA-2021-10. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Lerbetsky to take us through the file.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Item number 2.2 is page 1 of the cover letter from the County of Renfrew, dated August the 24th, 2021. Item 2.3 is the County of Renfrew Planning Division Zoning Bylaw Amendment Report to Council, dated, it should be August 24th, 2021, I believe. It might be a typo in there. Yes, that's correct. And then we'll move on to item number 3. The purpose of the amendment is to rezone a residential waterfront property to reduce the minimum water setback from Buch Lapine Lake from 20 meters to 10 meters and to reduce the minimum interior side yard from 3 meters to 0.85 meters from the eastern from the eastern lot line to permit an addition to the existing dwelling. The effect of the amendment is to rezone the subject lands from seasonal residential SR to seasonal residential, exception 1 SR-E1. All other provisions of the zoning bylaw shall apply. Moving on to item number 4, 4.1. Notice of complete application was sent out on August 25th, 2021. Item 4.2. The notice of application and public meeting were sent out to all affected property owners within 120 meters or 400 feet of the subject application and to all public bodies as required on August the 26th, 2021. Item 4.3. Notice was posted on the subject property on August 26th, 2021. Item number 5, notice to public bodies, written responses and or telephone messages. We only had one response from Ontario Power Generation, dated August the 26th, 2021. There were no comments or concerns with the application. Item number 6, written comments. 6.1, I received a telephone call on August 31st, 2021 from Barb O'Mara, who requested a copy of the site map. She was responding on behalf of her mother and her deceased father, who still appears on title, and she was wondering why they received 2 notices and that I shouldn't be sending it to the estate. And I said, well, the estate wasn't settled and we do have to send it. So she was fine with that. I just explained the reason for the 2 notices. So then on item number 7, I did 7.1, I did send Ms. O'Mara a copy of the site plan showing what the proposed amendment was, and all I received from her in response was a thank you note. And there were no other oral or written I'm stepping on your toes, Madam Mayor. It's your move.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lorbetsky. Are there any oral or written presentations by those in attendance? And I'm wondering, Ms. Taylor, did you want to speak to the application?
Yes, please.
Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mayor Love and council meeting members, excuse me. Mr. Lorbetsky, thank you for the introduction. Just a couple quick notes on the application. The first being that this is a rezoning application that is pursuant to a planning response that was submitted by way of general inquiry. So these were the recommendations of the planning department at the Renfrew County. There was a report that went along with this application, just with regards to sorry, I'm on vacation. My brain's a little on vacation mode. Actually,
okay.
Environmental impact study.
Yes, that's it. And we also did submit with the application a site plan agreement that was executed that takes into consideration all of the proposals and recommendations of that report, which was submitted as part of this application. So if council does pass this bylaw, I ask that they please execute that and return it. We can register it on title.
Okay, great. Thank you. And everyone deserves a vacation from time to time, especially when we've all been doing all these Zoom meetings. Now, I don't believe there's anyone else in attendance for this particular application, so we will move on to questions and discussion by council. Are there any questions from council? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Now, I do have a resolution here. Mr. Lorbetsky, did you wish me to read the resolution, or is that something you're going to do?
Madam Mayor, you can, and this is a follow-up to Ms. Taylor's comments about the site plan agreement already provided and with the appropriate documentation attached. So we've done similar in our last meeting. If I recall, it was the Finos one. The site plan agreement had to follow. So in order for it to flow through, that is why we request a resolution from council. So Ms. Taylor has already provided that. So it's just flowing through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's a resolution with respect to a site plan agreement as per item 15 of the recommendation in the planning report. The recommendation is that the zoning bylaw for Susan Jane Behan, county file number ZB2126.11, be passed, and further that a site plan agreement is entered into as outlined in the County of Renfrew recommendations. Could I get a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Wilmers, seconded by Councillor Schulist. Is there any discussion on this recommendation? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. All right, Mr. Lorbetsky, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item number 10 is a copy of the draft bylaw, which will be presented to council later on this morning for consideration.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our second application. The purpose is to hear persons' comments in regards to zoning bylaw amendment application made by the applicant. The applicant is Rakib Talukder. Owner is Danuta Talukder, and the file number is TAL-2019-15. Was adding an extra number there. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lorbetsky to take us through this file.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just before we start, as you notice, the file number dates back to 2019. Mr. Rakib had to do a study on the property because it's a change of use from commercial to a residential. So it took time to apply for that and have the report done. So just wanted to point that out to council before we started. Item 11.2 is the cover page from the County of Renfrew, dated August the 20th, 2021. Item 11.3 is the County of Renfrew Planning Division Zoning Bylaw Amendment Report to Council, dated August the 20th, 2021. I see that item 12 is missing a portion there on the agenda, but I will read it here from my notes. The purpose of the amendment is to rezone a property that is 1,250 square meters in area to permit a 4-unit dwelling and to reduce the front yard depth from 7.5 meters to 1.5 meters. The effect of the amendment is to rezone the subject lands from commercial C to residential 2, exception 6, R2-E6 in order to accommodate the rezoning, it should say, to allow the an apartment building. All other provisions of the zoning bylaw shall apply. And then moving on to item number 13, reports on the application and notice. 13.1, notice of complete application was sent out to the applicant on August the 24th, 2021. Item 13.2, the notice of application and public meeting were sent out to all affected property owners within 120 meters, 400 feet of the subject application, and to all public bodies as required on August 25th, 2021. Item 13.3, notice was posted on the subject property on August 25th, 2021. Item number 14, notice to public bodies, written responses and/or telephone messages. Once again, the only response I received was from Ontario Power Generation Inc., email dated August 26th, 2021. There were no comments or concerns. Item number 15, written comments. I did not receive any on the application. Item number 16, verbal report on general or telephone inquiries and/or attendances at the municipal office. I received a telephone call on August the 30th, 2021 from Alphonse Stephan, inquiring if the amendment had any impact in relation to his property. Once I explained it to him that he received notice because he was within that 120 meter, he was fine and he had no objections to the application. And I will hand it over to you, Mayor Love.
Okay, thank you. Are there any oral or written presentations by those in attendance? Now, I notice Mr. Talukder is here. Did you want to speak to the application, sir?
I have
There we
no comments. Sorry, I have no comments.
Okay, thank you. There isn't anyone else here for this application, I do believe. There's just the applicant. Okay, so with that, we'll move to questions and discussion by council. And Mr. Lerbetsky, I did notice that the County of Renfrew had identified that there were issues that still needed to be addressed in terms of access, parking, and the deck. Have those issues been addressed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not to my knowledge as of yet. I was away from the office on Friday. However, I had Mr. Poplinski forward the report to Mr. Talukdar, and I'm not sure whether he has had a chance to review those comments with his solicitor, who happened to be Mr. Howe, who assisted with the application. And I see that, well, since then, maybe Mr. Howe has retired, but if I can be so bold, I see Ms. Taylor from the law firm is still with us. And if anything has been discussed, because as I say, it's the County of Renfrew that are pointing these things out. I know that with respect to the deck, I believe that Mr. Talukdar has been working with the building department in relation to that. Now, the item about the crossing or the access from Rock Lane to the subject property is in question. The county picked this up with their GIS mapping. They see that the property does not front on Rock Lane. It only has frontage on Opiongo Line. So that is where their flag went up, because that is where the parking is supposed to occur for these apartments, is at the back. Now, one of the things that I may offer, I know that Rock Lane is maintained, and I see our operations manager is on the meeting as well, so he can confirm that. But personally, I know that that driveway, if I can call it that, or to the back of that property, has been used for at least 40 years, because I remember when Mr. Fitzpatrick owned that and ran a business out of there. I personally drove into the back of that property to go into that establishment. So that is something that maybe Mr. Rakib, Mr. Talukdar could get assistance from the law firm to establish whether it's the use or whether they get a right of way. I'm not sure, because I think it is Murray Holdings that owns that little strip that was left between the properties. And I think way back in the day, the intention was for even further development or future development of the Murray property, that would be the access going in there. So I provided an aerial photo of that area just so that it was for the benefit of council. I hope you received it in color. It stands out a little bit better than my black and white here. So with that, I will just let Mr. Talukdar respond whether he has been in touch with the law firm. And other than that, I would say, I think before we can have council consider the actual zoning amendment, that only first and second reading be given to the bylaw until that item is somehow satisfied before we proceed to third and final reading. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kuchkowski, did you want to speak to Rock Lane and the access there?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I can confirm Rock Lane as your GIS diagram in front of you. Rock Lane, we maintain it right to the end of Rock Lane, and we don't veer off to the right. You can see that in driveway or whatever you want to call it, crossing across the Murray property. I don't know if that's laid out as 66 feet. And Rock Lane is to the end, just to the right of that is a hydrant. So we do maintain it in the winter, right to where it's actually the black line, the solid line. So we do not maintain it to the right into that indented driveway that you can see, the light brown. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, Ms. Taylor, do you represent Mr. Talukdar? Did you want to speak to this? I'm just trying to make sure everybody knows what needs to happen before we can, as council can consider third and final reading. So I just...
At this time, I'm not retained by Mr. Talukdar to look after this, but I'm happy to help should he so desire to contact our office.
Okay. All right, so I think these are just matters that need to be sorted out with the County of Renfrew, and to ensure whatever agreements need to be in place are in place. Did council have any other questions, or is there any discussion from council on this point or on any of these concerns? Okay, I'm not seeing any. I would suggest at this point, when we go into our council meeting, that we do first and second reading, which is a good placeholder and gets this file moving forward. And then those minor issues will have to be sorted out with the County of Renfrew so that we can do third and final reading, as per Mr. Lorbetsky's suggestion. Any concerns with that, council? Okay, not seeing any. Okay, I'll turn it over to Mr. Lorbetsky to take us through the bylaw.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And as alluded earlier, the consideration of the bylaw would be only first and second reading today until the issues raised in the planning report from the county are addressed by Mr. Talukdar and or his solicitor. So that is all I have to offer on the bylaw. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess I just need our CAO to read the notification.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Council is also required by Section 3414.5 to inform the public at the public meeting of who is entitled to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal under Sections 3411 and 19 as follows. Section 3411, if council decides to refuse an application or refuses or neglects to make a decision on an application within 90 days of the municipal clerk receiving the application, the applicant or the Minister of Municipal Affairs may appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal by filing an appeal with the clerk of the municipality. Section 3419, not later than 20 days after the giving of notice of the passing of the bylaw, the applicant, any person or public body who made oral submissions at the public meeting or made a written submission to council before the bylaw was passed or the Minister of Municipal Affairs may appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal by filing an appeal with the clerk of the municipality. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And with that, the meeting is closed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.